Brothers, welcome back to another video. So we're going to be discussing the absolute art that we do on this channel, that is body recomposition, the ability to drop off body fat, get peeled to the bone whilst keeping, or at the very least retaining, muscle tissue. This is a result we've just had come in. 81 kg down to 70, peeled to the bone, and a very, very good set of abs. So we're going to speak about how we got this result, how you can then apply it into your own life. Obviously, it's come at a certain time of the year. Some of you may have enjoyed Christmas a little more than you probably wanted to, and you may be looking a little bit soft around this 20% marker here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi, and we run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program where we get results like this each and every week, and then we just speak about them online so you can add it into your own life. So let's roll straight into the video. Started here at 81 kg. As you can see, looking at the midsection here, sat around about 20%. We want to get you down to the point of sub to 9% body fat. Very, very crispy, which we then achieved at the end here. So this is how you're then going to do it into your own life. First thing we want to do is set you up. So we need to know your scale weight and then also body fat percentage. So with that, you're just going to take photos and then compare it to this guide you've got here. That's how you're going to get your estimate. Adding the two together, you've got your scale weight, body fat percentage, and then it's going to give you your lean mass. Lean mass, you're going to want to add 8 or 9% to this. So if we took pretty much what is 65 plus 8%, we're going to go to 70, and that's going to be the target you're going to hit. Now, for those of you starting at 20% body fat, drop down ever so slightly in a slight deficit of around about 200 calories. Don't go so drastic so quick, because you want to keep food as high as you can for as long as you can to drive performance in the gym, and will create the deficit through output. When you're setting your feeding, you want protein 2.4 times this figure here, times your lean mass. That's the amount you're going to get out in grams. Fats set to 20% of the overall target, and then the rest you are going to fill with carbohydrates. When you're setting up your meal, keep it nice and simple. Start off with the protein sources. You're pretty much going to need 40 grams sitting in each meal. Keep it simple. I would buy the same meats and double it up to save yourself prepping and food shopping. Same for fats. And then here you've got your carbs that you're going to use here, and using from the list of fiber here. This is how I tend to break it down. Nice and simple, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need variety. People that say they need variety basically just mean, I don't really want to follow this because it's tough. You're best off having a few foods that you eat and keep the diet as small as you possibly can. It's easier for prepping, it's easier for adherence, and if things are simple, they're a lot easier to follow. That is how I would approach, or how I do approach, nutrition plans. The next thing you want to look at is your training. Now, if you've been training for any length of time, you can get away with a 5-day split. The one we tend to run is push-pull legs, then we'll run a rest day here, then do chest and back and delts and arms. That way you're going to get plenty of volume and also frequency for all muscles, and then it's up to you to drive intensity in the gym. How do you know if you're training hard enough? Well, let's watch this video here, and this will give you a good idea. So nice and simple, when you are training, look for these 4 things. First one is tempo, steady on the way down. You don't have to be like bolt rigid, but just control the way down, pause at the bottom, and then drive up at the top. Think about the arm path. Where is the working muscle? Here we got the pecs. So we're going to run it as, pecs are going to start here by the sternum, run across the rib cage, insert onto the upper arm, the humerus. So just think about pulling your upper arm away and then towards the chest, and then that way you'll bring the origin and the insertion together. After that, we're looking at range of motion. So essentially all that means is go down deep enough and don't sell yourself short. And then the last thing you want to be looking at, and this is how you're going to measure if you're training hard enough, is the speed of your last repetition. You're looking at around that 3 to 4 second mark. That's how you'll know you're training hard enough. If you're finishing after 1 or 2, which I see some people do, you could be training harder. So you're just leaving some on the table. We watch this last rep here, probably touching 5 seconds just to get that final repetition out. So that's how you're going to approach your training. So we've got training, we've got nutrition. Then what you're going to need to do is track everything. So set your scale weight, weigh that daily, and then from there track the feeding that you eat, the steps you do, the cardio that you do. Now on steps and cardio, run it at 10k steps each day, and then start with formal cardio to make the change. At the beginning, you'll see a drop off from the feeding that you're on and the steps. But then after the first week, it may start to slow down, i.e. you're not dropping off that kilo that you want to. So then from there, add formal cardio. Keep it simple with this. Just add non-impact training. So you're looking at something like an incline treadmill, walk, or maybe even a bike in the beginning. Keep the heart rate to 120 to 130. That way you won't accumulate much fatigue when you do this, and it'll be something that you can do daily. If you try to go out running every day, you'll just find your appetite will go through the roof and it'll make adherence harder. or you'll just accumulate a lot of fatigue and therefore won't be able to maintain it anyway. So then what we'll do with this is we'll add cardio every time we need to see a drop off until we get to around 45 to 50 minutes. Then we're going to look to either push the intensity of that cardio up or take from food. When you do start to take from food, pull from fats first, because you're going to get more bang for your buck out of the diet, i.e. there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat where there's only 4 in protein and carbs. So you're pretty much going to get double out for the same, you'll get double the amount of feed in for like less grams of actual physical food. And fats generally come in a smaller like portion size versus the fiber that you're going to get from oats, berries, veg and whatnot. So that's where you're going to want to pull from there. So then from that point there, it's just a case of rinse, repeat, track everything, lifts in the gym so you know you're getting stronger. And that way you know you're not losing any tissue. People go, oh, I think I'm getting smaller. You're not. As long as you can put your hands on your logbook and be like, numbers have gone up in the gym, so there's not really an issue with that. The only thing you may find is as you go through the transformation, you'll get flatter, which is where essentially you've been depleted of carbs. Carbs essentially push the muscle against the skin. The more depleted you are of carbs, the less that's going to happen, the more you'll feel like you've got skinnier. If we ran a high carb day, that would essentially fill you back out and you'd be back to normal but leaner. So that's honestly like the main mindset thing as to why you'll probably sack it halfway through. But I've told you now, just for a warning, look at that and then don't let that fall off. I say this many, many times to clients. Expect to feel flat. It doesn't mean you're skinny. It just means you need to run a high day fairly soon. But you have to go through that stage of getting flat before you get lean like this guy did here. So then from there, you're just going to keep rinsing, repeating. Make the change when you don't see the scale weight drop off. And if you are, literally don't touch anything. Don't preempt. Don't change things for the sake of it. If you're seeing the drop off, then that's all you need to do. And then a time frame like this, you can knock this out in 12, 13 weeks or so, and you're going to see a pretty good result. And then at that point, primed and ready to go. Reverse yourself out just by simply adding 200 calories each week. Bring the cardio back down to 20 minutes daily and then to 60 minutes per week. And that'll be you cooking on gas. And that, honestly, in 7 minutes is literally how to do a full body recomposition. Nice and simple, no fucking around. From the setup to the feeding plan to how you're going to run with your session in the gym, how many days to train, and then when and how to make changes, which is probably the most important part. But the only reason you'll fuck this up is your own brain will tell you, we'll just stop this and try something new. Just set one goal, stick to one goal only, get lean, and then pivot to the next goal. Don't try and set 3 fucking goals because you'll achieve absolutely none of them. So that's my take on how to do a body recomp. If you found it useful, you know what to do, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.